And feels like I got cold again compared to my last episode last Saturday. Anyways, welcome to another edition of the Wanyuki Cheese Cafe. As I'm recording this, it is now November 30th, so it's the very last day of November before we get into December. Christmas is just around the corner, and for that matter, New Year's already around the corner for that matter too, so it's like, where'd the time go? But if you want to know something else that's brand new, this hat is. Figured I've had the other fedora for like at least over a decade. It was starting to get some wear and tear, stains, and I thought it's probably time to get it changed up. Anyways, we're continuing to walk here on Park Avenue. Of course, I'm finding too that with the colder weather comes a little bit more need to catch my breath while I'm walking around. Because if I'm walking uphill, that takes energy, but the cold air compared to the warm air in the winter, it's the summertime, it does make me take a bit of a beating, so pacing myself is going to be good. Or a warm beverage, because I do have a coffee shop in mind that I want to visit. It seemed like it opened up relatively recently, and I figured, why not? It gives me an excuse to go into Mile End and check that out, along with some other stuff along the way. So, whew, there we go. Got my breath again. Before we continue the journey, here's my suggestion for you as well. Hit that subscribe button below and put your notification bell on. That way, if there's a new video that comes up and it's ready for viewing, you're going to get a pop-up on your phone. Plus, give me a like too. The more likes I get, the more these videos are promoted across YouTube, so it does help me out. I'm hearing a bit of a drum beat right now, but I guess men without hats seems appropriate considering I am going into Mile End, and I always associate them with that, even though they're from Outremont. Nice and cozy. Wait a minute. I keep forgetting that whenever I try to record in the wintertime, if I go from outside to indoors, I'm going to get some condensation and fog on my lens, so it takes me some time to get used to. Now, if you come into the city, especially if you come to like the Plateau, Mile End, Rosemount, try to find a coffee shop. You're probably going to find maybe at least a dozen of them on a block, so there's no shortage of them. But I like to go to micro roasters whenever they come around. And you already know my style. I like microbreweries because they put a unique spin on their own beers, and it's the same thing for micro roasters. They roast their own beans, and sometimes you get some flavors that you don't necessarily get with a lot of the store brands you find, or at least a lot of the big chains like Starbucks or whatever. So from what I remember seeing, this place, it actually opened up like earlier in the week. There are two other locations that are around, one in NDG and one that's in Old Montreal. This one on Park Avenue, like in the Plateau / Mile End. It's brand new, and it's all because one of the followers I have here. We kind of stalk each other on Instagram. She likes a lot of coffee shops and photographs them from time to time, and sometimes it gives me some new ideas for places I can visit around here and trying out some new coffees. And I kind of like it so far. The look and the style I see is kind of minimalistic at the moment, but since they just opened up, I'm sure in due time, things are going to look even more full. Oh, excuse me. And yeah, it's actually pretty crazy to see a place like this very quiet, because I'm so used to walking into a cafe where, it's packed to the brim. I'm lucky if I could get a seat and actually have enough space where I'm able to record a video. But hey, what can you do? It's a nice, satisfying visit so far, and it's a good starter, way to warm up before I get to my next round. As for where my next round is going to be, all I know is that I'm craving some Asian noodles, and also probably going to get a beer round. And luckily, since I'm close to a good part of Milan and also near Plaza Saint-Hubert, there's no shortage of places where I can grab a drink. That was a satisfying coffee. I know I'm going to want to come back here because they do have some nice looking blends I'm going to want to check out. The one that I did have was actually called the dark mode, which is probably a bag I'm going to buy because it does have a picture of a ghost from Pac-Man on there as a ghost, or as a logo, and I thought, yeah, I'm still an old video game nerd. I'm going to want to embrace that. But that energized me just enough, and I'm going to continue my walk along Park Avenue. Oh yeah, this all looks familiar to you. I forgot to point out that I was on Park Avenue back in August when I recorded my episode to celebrate my 4-year anniversary on YouTube. So if you want to see that one, I'm going to put a card in the top right corner for you to watch it and then revisit some relatively warmer days compared to this. Now, next thing I'm going to do is try to find a place to grab a brew. Where I go, I have no clue. Although I am getting kind of peckish now and I do have cash on me and I'm close to St. Viateur Bagel, so I don't know. Let's see what I end up doing. I'm here on Bernard Street West and almost in front of the Helm brewery. It's a spot I've been to last year where all the brews are done locally and they name it after streets that are around the area. And I did cover that in episode 2. This was like around October 2023 where I came over here after going to Cibois. And actually, I'll put a card in the top right corner for you to revisit that one. I'm almost tempted to go get a brew for over here because I noticed some quality stuff. Thing is, do I want to do that or show off something brand new on the channel today? I guess I'll think about it and then continue the montage. Okay, so I didn't want to think too hard, and I figured that I haven't been to this brewery in almost a year, so I figured it was overdue to come back here again because let's face it, if I could go to Cibois, if I could go to Ile de Gave numerous times, I'm sure I could do this a number of times as well. So once again, Helm on the Bernard Street. This place is like named after, a lot of the beers are named after the streets that are around the area. So you're going to find your Hutchison, you might find a St. Viateur. St. Viateur is actually their oat stout, which I think I had a while back, but it's been a little bit of time since then. But I thought I would go for something a little bit different right now. I've got something that they have called a koala. So this is their New England Pale Ale, not their New England India Pale Ale. There's a bit of a difference between that because India Pale Ales apparently are going to be a little bit more hoppy and New England Pale Ales are a bit more, hey, you know what? Let's just give this a taste and see what it's like. Cheers, everybody. Happy Saturday. Delicious. And it's only about 4.9% too, so that means it's not the strongest fucker on the planet. Although I was saying this isn't like a New England IPA, but the truth is that when you look at the beer, like the menu here, they say This is made with Nelson Sauvin, Vic Secret, and Galaxy hops. So apparently I do have 3 different types of hops in there. Yeah, every time I see Vic Secret, I think Victoria's Secret, because maybe one day I'll be a lingerie model if my editor and my trophy generator is telling me anything. Some days you just really can't escape the cheese. This beer is amazing. Nice, fruity, doesn't have the same strength as a New England IPA, but you know what? It still serves its purpose. I'm definitely digging the vibe around here, or even digging the vibe in general in this area, because it's probably a part of the story I've talked about many times. But Mile End for me is more of a relatively recent discovery of mine in the last few years. Because when I think back to Mile End, the only point of reference I've had when I was coming here was either for the record conventions that took place at one of the churches, like somewhere between Saint Laurent Boulevard and Saint Dominic, close to Laurier, and also coming to Saint Viateur and Fairmount to get some bagels fresh from the spot. But this is back before I even knew all of the boroughs and districts of Montreal, so I came here without even knowing that this was called Mile End. I just thought, I'm coming into town for bagels, so let it be. But over time I did walk by, saw a lot of cute places I thought I would check out eventually, and here I am since 2021, actually exploring a lot more and even documented on my channel, so it feels like even if people aren't with me as much, they're following me around these adventures to this day, while I'm sharing my stories and finding a good beer for myself. And you know what? I am still thinking of getting some Asian noodles for myself. Just a question of where I go to, because I got some parts of Park Avenue that will still have it. I'm also close to La Petite Patrie, like the Little Italy part of Rosemont, especially Plaza Saint-Hubert, so there's plenty of options around. That said, there are a couple of other beers that on the menu that are tempting me, and maybe I haven't really done a taster platter in a long time, so because they only do 3 beers as opposed to 4 onwards, I may do that before I hit the road, so I can give myself another shot and give myself, well, show off something brand new. To be determined. And I took a look over at the menu that we had, and I did find 3 good brews I could do as a little taster platter. So once again, this is one of the only spots I know where if you're going to be doing a taster, then you're only going to be getting 3 beers at 5 ounces each, as opposed to doing like 4 beers, 5 beers, or even 6 beers at some other spots. I feel like in terms of galopins or urchins, as it translates to English, which, you know, it's a very strange term, but whatever. The only other spot I've been to was, oh yes, that was at Maison's Taverne over in Point St. Charles, where I had a little taster platter there, but with 3 brews. If you want, I'm putting the card in the top right corner, and you can revisit that episode from earlier in the year. So, if you want to know what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to overwhelm myself first. And no, that's a little pun intended, because this one is called Overwhelm, except what they do is they put an apostrophe between W and H, and then at the end you get, after the apostrophe, Helm, which is the brewery here. It's their double New England IPA. That's about 7.9%. It's a pretty strong one, and I want to have this one without committing myself to a full glass, because I do like this sometimes, especially because if I go to a place that has West Shepherd, I'm going to get Third de Joie for myself. It's one of my favorite beers from them. Still, we'll give this one a little taste. So, it's a New England IPA, and you can definitely taste the strength of that. A little bit like Third de Joie, although Third de Joie is 8% and this one's 7.9%, so I doubt you're going to get a very heavy difference in taste with just the 0.1% alcoholic content. The next one I got over here is going to be Oh, Attack de la Keller Bière, or Attack of the Keller Beer. I think it's supposed to be like a blonde or a lager, except when I think Keller beers, I always think like something a bit more blonde, but this one's supposed to be like an amber lager, and they say this one is a cold hop lager, so that means it's one of those, it's similar to a cold IPA where they ferment the hops at a colder temperature as opposed to room temperature. I still don't get that because I feel like a cold IPA, it's a very, I'm still new to that concept of, is there a difference to the hops? Like if you were to ferment it at a cold temperature versus a warmer temperature? Fuck if I know. All I know is that I'm doing a good brew right now. So this one, yep, this is definitely an amber. I don't taste too much of the hops in here, but the thing I've noticed with ambers is that they tend to be a little bit sweeter. So if you're not a fan of sweet beers, then it might not be for you, but you know, once in a while, I like to do that. And then I'm moving on to another one here that I thought I would get for sentimental reasons. This one is called Night Shift, and they call this one a somber Czech lager. I know you look at this, it looks more like a stout or maybe a porter, but you know, I got it because it's something brand new, but there's another reason to that. First, let's get a taste of this before I give you my reasoning. Oh, very nice. So honestly, as much as I like my double New England IPA, this one might be my favorite one. But there was a reason for this. I posted this on my Facebook page for a few old HMV colleagues, but it's because I heard earlier in the week that one of our old guys at the mega store had passed away at a relatively young age. Like, if I was to think back, he might have been in his early to mid 40s by the time the store closed. It's been 8 years since the store had closed down, or almost 8 years, and at that point when I got the news, I thought he couldn't have been any more than in his early 50s or mid 50s, and knowing that he had, you know, a young daughter, that kind of hit me hard. Because I know what that's like to lose a parent at a young age also. Like, I can feel for her, but then also my grandfather on my mom's side passed away in his mid 50s too. It's like little things that make you think as you get a bit older. So I did put a tribute, like I said, but this is just making me think a little bit more and enjoying a little somber beer as I decide where to find my noodles. And I guess I'm going to be working the night shift because, let's face it, I saw this and I knew that I wanted to use it as a little musical montage. So we're going to play that as we make our way to the restaurant.
His heart in every line. Marvin sang of the joy and pain. He opened up our mind, and I still believe.
So this ended up being a little bit simpler than I expected to, because when I was walking along Bernard Avenue, I found this place, Restaurant Thailand, that's on the corner of that and St. Urban Street, and I thought, well, I passed by here a number of times on my walks in this area and figured, why not give it a shot while I'm in the area? So it's kind of cozy. It has a nice variety of noodles I would want to get, but I decided to get myself something a little bit different today instead of my usual beer, because I did look at the beer menu and it seems like it's mostly going to be canned beer or maybe bottles of beer, and I wouldn't come to a restaurant for that normally under normal circumstances, so I'm doing a sake for myself. And what sake is essentially just fermented rice wine as opposed to grape wine. And I'm getting deja vu because the last time I did cover that was one Friday when I was in Mile End, and I went to Le Bay and got myself a little noodle platter there after I was going to Waverly for a New England IPA. If you want to see that, I'll put a link on the top right corner and then you'll be able to watch that episode. But anyways, Cheers to another fine Saturday night. Quite nice. And I don't want to make the same mistake as last time, because if you touch the bottle when it's warm, you might burn yourself, because it's hot glass to begin with. Keep that in mind. Now this is looking good right now. So I knew I wanted some kind of a noodle dish, but I wasn't sure what exactly I would be picking up for myself. Hang on, I'll just adjust the camera. There we go. And I saw here there was something called pad de kimao. Pad Thai is something I made for myself at home before, and I did see they had pad siu. I think that's how you pronounce it, but I've already had that before. That was back when I did my episode on Côte d'Ivoire Road a little while ago, where I went to Le Mekong just after going to MR 250 for a pint. If you want to see that episode, then I'll put a card in the top right corner for you to watch that one. And I'm just going to give this a taste test to see what it's like. Apparently this thing is like vermicelli rice noodles, a bunch of chilies, shrimp, basil, and pepper, so it might be kind of spicy, but we'll figure it out. I'm feeling spice. It's not too hot, but something tells me I'm gonna feel it like as I keep biting into this thing. So overall, satisfactory. Nice, satisfying meal tonight. Although the pad kimao was tasty, I do have to point out that it was a little bit spicier than I expected it to be, because there was more chili peppers in there. So my mouth was burning for a little bit longer than anticipated, which means I need to take some time to work it off. And I do have room for one final ration, because luckily there is one spot that I wanted to hit up today to kind of tie things together to my Park Avenue video, which I did back in 2022. If you know that, you know which one I'm talking about. But if you don't remember, let's just say it's a very nostalgic place for me, because it takes me back to my childhood, and it just makes me ask this one question for a musical backdrop. Do you like Huey Lewis and the News? No? Well, too bad. You're listening to it. When I was talking about being nostalgic for a second, what I was really saying was I want to come back to Nacho Libre again for the first time in a little while, because it's one of those spots that I look at and just think back to being a child again in the 80s, and it's actually remind me because everyone else in the old Super Nintendo, NES, and all this pop culture came along the way, and also it was something I've covered before on my Park Ave vlog from 2022. If you want to see episodes, I'm going to put on the top right corner to watch that one. I just felt it was appropriate that tonight I was on Park Avenue as well. It was just right to finish off my round over here. But unlike the last time, when I was doing my IPA or something else, I thought, hey, I'm going to something completely different. It's a Lamette 55, but I'm not doing my my dad told me I'm doing a bunch of macerating. That's the most important to put out, which is like the Madrid style lager. Madrid is the capital of Spain, and whenever I had this one, I always think, it gives me back memories of having Mahu when I was in Madrid like 30 years ago. And it's only like 4.7%, it's a very light blend. Like, okay, this would be a good round, wrap things up tonight. Delicious as always. I'm digging this one. I'm digging the vibe because since I came here a little bit later than usual, there are 2 more people, so I'm not the only one at the bar. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit more packed as time goes on, but I don't mind having a few people compared to being crowded in the bar. Because otherwise, it gets me back to memories of being a Thursday on Saturday night where it feels more right.
Don't take fame. Don't need no credit card to ride this train. It's strong and it's sudden and it's cruel sometimes, but it might just save your life. That's the power of love.
Oh man, we're back beating up on King Hippo. If you're wondering what I'm talking about when I'm looking at the TV screen, it's because I see on the screen that they're playing some of the old Punch-Out games on the NES. And I used to play that when I got that cartridge like in the late 90s. Funny story is that it was actually as a giveaway as like in the Lost and Found in my high school and managed to get that for free. And this is not the version that was Punch-Out featuring Mr. Dream. It was Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, which became a rarity and is actually a little bit more expensive to get compared to the later re-release. So, you know, we managed to be lucky with that. But on the same topic, I managed to get a bit lucky those days because we were collecting video games before it really became a collector's market. Like you're talking like these days, picking up an old NES game is almost like getting rookie cards for the NHL or the NBA. So it's kind of crazy. So that's kind of why when I look at some of this, it makes me think back to my nostalgic childhood, maybe with rose-tinted glasses, because I am going to admit, when I look back at these games now, some of these are so difficult that I don't have the same patience I would have when I was 10 years old, 12 years old, or even 15 years old. But hey, watching on screen, it kind of takes me back. And I'm kind of glad a place like this still exists to this day, because for people my age and my generation, it's a way that we can relive our childhood memories while enjoying some adult beverages. But after this is done, I'm probably going to hit the road, find a way to get some coffee, which shouldn't be too hard because I do have a few shops around here that I can get a little booster. And overall, it's a satisfying way to go finish off the very last day of the weekend, or no, actually the very last day in November. So until then, thanks for watching this latest edition of the Wanyuki Cheese Cafe. So if you like what you see, you know what you can do. Hit that subscribe button below. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the wanders, the discoveries of cafes, bars, restaurants, me retelling stories of my childhood growing up around here. And also if you have any ideas for future episodes, just leave in the comments and I'll see what I could do. Till then, take care and see you next time, or see you when we meet our maker. Oh, the maker. That's a song I haven't heard in a little while. That's actually a Danielle Lanois song, which, if that name doesn't ring a bell for you, think Peter Gabriel around the So era, or U2 when they were being produced by him and Brian Eno. Like you're talking Unforgettable Fire, Joshua Tree, like the classic stuff. This one, I heard in the car as a kid, but didn't know who it was until years later, so this will be the finisher.
Twisted line. I'm a stranger in the eyes of the maker. I could not see my bad tears, walking